Exciting news for EastEnders fans as over 2,000 classic episodes are set to be available for streaming on BBC iPlayer. Episodes from 2012 onwards will drop monthly, with the full collection expected by Christmas. Meanwhile, shocking twists unfold in recent episodes, including Dean Wicks' alarming actions towards his daughter Jade. Great news, EastEnders fans! Over 2,000 classic episodes becoming available to watch. EastEnders fans, it's the moment we've all been waiting for, as the BBC One soap will expand its back catalogue of episodes, with over 2,000 classic offerings set to become available over the course of the next year. The excitement is real. BBC iPlayer has been offering up for weekly classic episodes since the first lockdown 4 years ago, initially providing audiences with a daily slice of Walford life when current episodes were taken off air amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The streaming service has racked up quite a collection as a result, with every offering from 2008 to 2011 currently available to view. With the final installments of 2011 having only been added last week, fans were left wondering if the subsequent year would follow suit and be added to the service. It brings me great joy to tell you that, yes, 2012 is coming to iPlayer. The classic offerings, however, will adopt a new and exciting streaming pattern from here on out. Instead of 4 episodes being made available weekly, fans will now be able to stream the entire year in one fell swoop, with every episode from 2012 dropping from Tuesday, March 25th. Much like Amazon Freevee did with Neighbours last year prior to its return, fans can expect a whole year of Albert Square drama to arrive on iPlayer on the 25th of each and every month. By Christmas Day, every episode from 2008 onwards will be available to view. That's over 2,000 episodes, just in case you were wondering. Fans can relive the arrival of iconic EastEnders families such as the Carters, who rocked up in Walford in 2013, and experience all the highs and lows of Albert Square life between 2008 and present day. Discussing the historic move, EastEnders executive producer Chris Crenshaw said, "We're thrilled that BBC iPlayer are expanding their collection of EastEnders episodes so that our viewers can enjoy a look back at some of the show's most iconic storylines as we honor its rich history and its gripping characters. Viewers will be able to rewatch their favorite characters and relive their favorite moments, such as Who Killed Lucy Beale, Peggy's heartbreaking death, Stacy's postpartum psychosis and Kathy's jaw-dropping return from the dead." Dan McGalpin, director of BBC iPlayer and Channels, said, "It's fantastic to see EastEnders in such great form for 2024, and this is generating strong demand from viewers to enjoy earlier episodes on BBC iPlayer. I'm delighted that we're able to add all of 2012 by the end of the month and we'll have more than 2,000 episodes available by Christmas. So, what are you waiting for? Get streaming." Dean Wicks kills own daughter Jade Massoud in shocking EastEnders twist. This article contains spoilers from Wednesday's EastEnders, which has not yet aired on TV but is available to watch now on BBC iPlayer. Dean Wicks has been taking extreme action to keep daughter Jade Massoud close to him in EastEnders, but just when we thought he couldn't stoop any lower, he surpassed all of our expectations. After learning that Jade planned to move to Pakistan with mum Shabnam once she had recovered from her chest infection, Dean began tampering with her antibiotics, leaving the pill cases empty so that they had no effect. In more recent scenes, Dean accompanied Jade to her fundraiser in the Queen Vic, much to the horror of Linda Carter, and confided in her that he wanted her to stay with him longer. However, Jade was determined to make the move to Pakistan, and made it clear that nothing Dean said could make her stay with him. Furious at being defied, Dean disconnected the tube from Jade's oxygen tank, leaving her completely vulnerable. It didn't take long for Jade to grow breathless, and Dean was instantly there to support her. However, after a conversation with Linda, Gene Slater decided it would be best if Dean left, and soon he was being wrestled out of the building by Johnny Carter and George Knight, despite his insistence that he needed to be there to care for his ailing daughter. As Jade stood up to deliver her speech, Dean was forced to listen from outside, and he grew concerned as it became clear that Jade was struggling to breathe. Things took a shocking turn when Jade collapsed, sending the crowd into a panic, with Billy Mitchell, Perry Fenwick rushing to find Dean. As Dean came to Jade's aid, he placed the blame for her condition on an upset Gene. With no one suspecting Dean of vandalizing Jade's oxygen, will he get away with his crime, and will Jade pull through, or has he killed his own daughter? EastEnders Spoilers, family member thrown out for good as Honey is attacked and Martin is enraged. Families are being driven to the brink in Eastenders next week as George Knight takes action to evict Gloria from his life, while the return of Martin Fowler could upset the marriage of Denise Fox and Jack Branning when he discovers the latter's affair with Stacey Slater. Making his comeback, he walks in on them kissing and, as Jack still reels from Denise's ultimatum on their marriage and they take a tentative step towards progress, it could all be undone. Will Martin spill the beans? Elsewhere, Linda Carter is left shaken by another horrifying encounter with Dean Wicks. Inexplicably, the fundraiser is being held in the Vic, on the understanding that Dean won't attend. Of course, he does anyway and a frantic Linda is forced to flee. And this isn't the only vile move from Dean next week either. Monday, March 18th. Jack is walking on eggshells around Denise after her ultimatum, but when he confides in Stacey, she advises him to do whatever Denise asks. Later, Stacey goes to see Denise and persuades her to get her marriage back on track. The two women arrange a family barbecue to bring both sides of baby Charlie's family together. At the barbecue things are awkward and Stacey talks with a fragile Denise, feeling terrible. Out in the backyard, Stacey tells Jack that she wishes she could be selfish, but he needs to be there for Denise. He holds his arms out for a hug, and they share a tender goodbye kiss, but Martin walks in and catches them. Elaine and the Night Girls are making a big fuss of George on the morning of his birthday when Gloria arrives. Although she gets a frosty reception, George agrees to talk to his mum, but when Gloria insists that George had a happy childhood, he's infuriated and loses his temper. Elaine escorts shaken Gloria out, and horrified by his outburst, George rushes off. Later, he returns and confides his fears to Elaine before breaking down in her arms. Jean wants the Vic as the venue for Jade's fundraiser, and Linda surprisingly agrees, on the proviso that Dean isn't allowed to attend. Back at Dean's place, Jean is terrified when Jade has a bad coughing fit and calls the doctor, much to his horror. Things get worse when Jade takes a look at his phone. Elsewhere, Avani pressures Will into vaping. Tuesday, March 19th. Jack and Stacey insist to Martin that the kiss was a moment of madness and beg him not to tell Denise. Chelsea interrupts and is suspicious when Stacey rushes after Martin. When alone, Stacey admits to the affair with Jack and tells Martin it's over and the whole thing is none of his business. Later, Martin confides about what's happened to Kathy, who desperately tries to persuade him to keep the secret, fearing the consequences of Denise finding out for the rest of the 6 women. Back at the Brannings, Jack breaks down to Denise about how scared he's been about her, leading to a breakthrough for them as a couple as they pledge to fix things. Dean has a lot of explaining to do as Jade and Jean confront him about dodging Shabnam's calls and texts. He manages to persuade them that he's been putting his head in the sand and avoiding Shabnam, and Jade wonders why. Her mom knows she's still too ill to go to Pakistan. Later, Jade asks Dean if she can go to the fundraiser at the Vic, but he insists that he'll only let her if she's well enough. Jade is unaware that Dean is continuing to mess with her antibiotics to keep her close. Wednesday, March 20th. Johnny taunts Dean about being banned from Jade's fundraiser, making him determined to find a way to get there. After manipulating Jean and Harvey, Dean arrives at the Vic, and Jade begs Elaine just to let him see her speech. As they wait for her big moment, Dean begs Jade to stay with him in London, but she insists she needs to go to Pakistan and be with her mum. Linda is furious to see Dean in her bar and rushes upstairs, with Jean right behind her. Emotional Linda makes Jean see that Dean is playing her, so Jean returns downstairs to order him to leave. Honey is horrified to catch Will vaping and demands to know who sold him the vape. After finding out it was Avani, Honey charges into the Vic to have it out with Priya, who is unrepentant. Ravi arrives and profusely apologizes, but Priya makes the situation 10 times worse. Meanwhile, Penny tries to persuade Lauren to have a 30th birthday celebration, but she's not keen, especially when Peter tells her he's got a date that night, so can't make it. Thursday, March 21st. Ravi confronts Avani about selling vapes, but she won't back down, especially when he criticizes Priya's parenting skills. After a row with Ravi over how she raised Avani, Priya flirts with Martin and invites him to buy her a drink at Peggy's that night. Ravi comes to find her and apologizes, and Priya tells him she'll deal with Avani. That night, Ravi finds Priya at Peggy's, and they share a warm moment as they discuss their daughter, but when he asks if he can join Priya for a drink, she knocks him back in favor of Martin, who has just arrived. Lauren is downbeat about her upcoming birthday, but Penny is determined to cheer her up. She sets Lauren up with a profile on a dating site so she can make Peter jealous. Please subscribe our channel.